Hello, it's Ian Banyard from the 21 Days with Nature event. Thank you for either watching me live or watching this on record. I imagine that most people will be watching this on record. If I was in your situation, I'd be outside now because I'm looking out into my garden. And spring has already sprung here. It's interesting, isn't it? I wanted to start this 21 days on the official first day of spring. I thought, oh, that would be a good idea. Let's do it on the first day of spring. But of course, spring springs when it wants to. Nature isn't attached to our schedules and our ways and our calendars and dates and diaries. Nature decides when it's going to spring. And actually, one of the things I notice about spring, one of the things I love about spring, is that not everything springs at the same time. Some plants come up really, really early. Some plants come up a little later. And it's wonderful. It's unlike us when we all have to turn up at the same time. And I know there's a few of you here now. Hi, Kev. It's nice to see you just turning up, Kev, as I'm saying that everybody arrives, and in spring everything arrives at its own time. It's actually it's a lovely message, I think, is that, I've scheduled this to launch today because this is the first day of spring, but spring has already sprung. I've been watching it all this week and noticing that, despite the dates that we put on things, the sky's blue, the birds are orchestral outside, the smells, the tastes, even if you're one of those that goes out and forages as well. And the feeling now of spring is definitely here in the UK. Some of you will be watching this from the other side of the world, I know, and it'll be autumn for you. And that's one of the reasons why I do a spring one of these and an autumn one, so we can switch over. So last autumn, when we did the 31 days with nature, it was spring over in Australia and New Zealand, and over here we were enjoying autumn, and now it's the other way around. So one of the things I love about Nature Connection World is it doesn't matter where we are in the world, we can all connect and link together. And that's one of the key things about this 21 days is, even though it's spring here in the Northern Hemisphere, in the Southern Hemisphere, it's autumn there, but I still want you all to interact, and I still want you all to share because, it's an amazing world. It's an amazing natural world. And it's great sometimes to be experiencing spring in one part of the world, but sharing autumn in another part, of the world, and sharing it spring, and whatever season you're going through right now in the world. It's a lovely opportunity to share all that. So thank you for signing up. I think we've got just over 30 people now have signed up. Tickets are still available. So if people want to come and join the event group, they can do that through Eventbrite. And I've popped in the chat a link, and I'll copy the chat for those watching on record. I'll put that chat into the post with this recording, so that you can, if you haven't already signed up to the event group, you can do that. And I think I'll tell you a little bit about the event group in a minute. But firstly, I'd again just like to welcome you for watching, welcome you for being part of it, and thanking you for joining me. I have probably for the last 8 years, since I started running natural mindfulness walks, I have been doing, I used to call them a spring retreat and an autumn retreat. I used to do a little retreat, and I did, remember the first one I did was 30 days with nature. And the idea was that I would go out every single day into nature and with nature. And the idea was that I would experience each day and then share my experiences each day. And I got to day 3, day 4, maybe day 4, and I was thinking, gosh, this is hard work. It's hard to get into nature, find the time to go and invest some time with nature, and then every single day coming on and sharing what I'd done. But the key thing wasn't what I realized when I did that for myself. I realized that it wasn't about forcing myself and pushing myself to invest time with nature. It was more about allowing myself to. And if I wasn't able to, or I felt that I hadn't invested time with nature each day, to not beat myself up about it, not get so upset about it, because that would just defeat the whole object of being with nature. And, my nature, and I don't know about you, but my nature is very much about, sometimes I jump out of bed and I want to get out into nature, and I'll give that a high priority, and that's what I want to do, and I'm going to go and do it, and I go and do it. Other days, it's not quite the same. Other days, my nature is that I might not feel like jumping out of bed. It might depend on the weather. It might depend on all of the commitments I've got. It might depend on what time I went to bed the night before. But one of the key things about these experiences in nature over a period of time, like a 21-day period of time, is that you invest time in nature, and you invest time with nature. So one of the reasons I say with as well is that it's very different being with nature to in nature. And it's often when we talk about spending time in nature, it becomes difficult to justify or difficult to do. But when we think about, or when I think about investing time with nature, it's a very different experience for me. It's I'm investing time, so it's valuable to me, and I'm expecting a return of my investment. I'm also expecting interest with that as well. And with nature means that I don't always have to be in nature. I can be with nature. So I can look out the window, and I'm doing that now. I can look out the window, I can see my pond, I can see the sun shining on some little baby daffodils that are coming up over there as well. And I can tune in outside the window and pick up, if I take these off, pick up some bird song out the window. So I am, even though I'm indoors, I'm still with nature. So in that moment, I'm with nature, and I'm investing attention, and I'm investing some time, investing some of my energy, connecting to nature in that way too. And so one of the wonderful things about taking a period of 21 days to do this is, you can have some days off. It's not about having to force yourself to do it. So I want you to go through this and allow yourself to notice when you're connecting with nature. Notice when you're experiencing nature during your days, and then share that. Now you can share that in a journal, and in those of you that have seen or have copies of my book, I've put journal pages in the Natural Mindfulness Personal Guide to Healing and the Power of Nature Connection. It's there are journal pages in there so that people can write in there. So either take if you've got my book, copy of my book, or you can take just a normal journal out with you and experience nature wherever you are, all through your senses, and then journal about that experience. Journal about what you have seen, what you have heard, what you have felt, what you've smelt. If you know what you're tasting, you taste nature as well, or take something natural with you, some piece of fruit, some nuts, or something with you that you can taste while you're out as well. So using all of those 5 traditional senses to go out and experience nature. Connect to nature sort of instinctively as well. See if you can tune in and tap into your instinct, and that part of us, I believe, that we inherit from all of our long line of ancestors. And I believe that there's part of my instinct is linked all the way back to people in my lifeline, if you like, for a great word. So that connection of life that's come all the way through to me from ancestors, descended through to me, that there is an instinctive link there, or a memory, just like animals have, that is passed on, which is part of our survival. And I believe that we all have instinctively a sense of connection to the natural world that is inherited. It's an inherent sense. Also, there's some people have an intuitive connection to nature. They have a sort of an extended sensory connection to the natural world. And so for me, that's also a really interesting thing to tap into during these sort of 21 days with nature. So you have lots of different ways to go out and experience nature through your senses. There's also, again, I'm just refer to my book again, there's exercises in my book. I'll be sharing some exercises and some practices, and other people on the course will be, on this event, will be can share practices and exercises that they do in nature. And that's the part of the event group. So there's an event group for this. So you can join this group without an event, without joining the event group. You can just write in a journal. You can share your experiences with family and friends through your social media networks. But if you want to sort of join the group of us that have already come into the group, I've set up tickets through Eventbrite, and I've put a link to that in the chat. Again, I'll drop that chat underneath this for a recording for people to connect to. And join that. If you join through that, I'll give you access into the event group for 21 Days with Nature. The tickets are £5, and I think there's an 80p fee that Eventbrite charge to use Eventbrite. And all the proceeds from this are going to Make It Wild, which is a rewilding project that Helen Neve and her husband Chris run in North Yorkshire. And so I'm trying to raise enough money from this one, the spring 21 days, and from the money I raised doing the last one in autumn, so we can sponsor a wood up in North Yorkshire with Chris and Helen. They're rewilding the area and planting woodlands, and I'd love us to have a Nature Connection World woodland. So that's why I've put a small price on it, so that we can also support this environmental project as well. So if you go along to the Eventbrite, get a ticket, I'll know you've joined, and I can sort of let you into the event group. And if those of you that are already in the event group, thank you for getting a ticket and supporting what Helen and Chris are doing. I'll also send, you guys send the link out to people. They can join the 21 days, hopefully join today on the first day, but people can join, all the way through the 21 days. That's the lovely thing about doing something like this is, I'm sort of saying there's 21 days here for us to be connecting, but in reality, we can just continue connecting long after this. And I set all my courses up, and I set most of my events up in a way that we can continue to connect, and we can continue on with the journey even after this finishes. So I think I've covered some of the key things I wanted to cover at the beginning, introducing you. One of the things I'll also do is, if you've got questions, that's the other thing, because on these I tend to sort of get all the information out as quickly as I can, and because I know it's being recorded, I'll just sort of keep talking, so there's lots of information on there. But if you've got questions and any ideas for the 21 days as well, drop them into the chat while I'm doing this recording now. But also, once I've posted this, drop them into the chat underneath wherever I'm posting this video, and I'll probably post a copy of this video in the event group for people that are in the event group with us that haven't been able to watch yet. But I'll also be posting it on Nature Connection World generally, so that people that are not yet in the group have got an opportunity to come and join us in here and see what it's all about. Let's see, let's just quickly go through. I've talked about our commitment to it, and I say that's one of the challenges to doing this is finding the time to do it and committing to it. One of the key things I find, though, is when I commit to do something, what I often do is I put pressure on myself. I still do it, even with everything I've sort of learned and discovered about the best way to live your life and look after your well-being. I still find that I put pressure on myself. Even doing something like this, there'll be moments leading up to me doing this video where I'll be putting pressure on myself and rushing and often trying to do a little bit too much. So I appreciate that if I do that, it's probably likely that you'll do that as well, and other people will do that too. And I think that the key thing here is to get the most out of this this event and to enjoy what you're doing and enjoy spring, because this is all about celebrating springtime. It's all about enjoying the new nature that's coming through. It's important that you go through it and you be aware of the times when you're forcing yourself and pushing yourself. And the key thing about this is please don't have any regrets and things that if you get to the end of the day and you'd planned to go out and have a wonderful time in nature and life got in the way, work got in the way, home life got in the way. Be gentle on yourself, be okay with that, and just do your best the next day to see if you can make up for it the following day. And I think the key thing is that we are gentle on ourselves too. So, how are we going to go ahead and do this? And what have I often one of the questions people ask me is, well, what are we doing? What is the plan? I don't plan. I tend to not be a planner anymore. I've done a lot of years of planning in my life, and most of the plans that I made didn't work. It didn't work out the way I planned. I still achieved what I wanted to achieve, but it wasn't actually to the plan. It was kind of, some people used to say they would say to me I was a lucky person because, regardless of how I did things, it kind of worked out sometimes. And I said, well, I've got a sense of direction. So it's kind of like a plan, and I'm always prepared for as prepared as I can be. But I'm also accepting that not everything will always work out the way I want it to, and I'm okay with that. And so going through this is, again, I have a sense of direction for this. I have an idea of how I'd like this to run, and I'd like it to run based on how I run my guide training course. And for those of you that have been on the guide training course, you'll know what I'm talking about here. But for those of you that don't, the very first week of that course, I have an immersion week. So it's a natural mindfulness immersion week. So we go through 7 days on the guide training course of practices, experiences, gaining insight, and then sharing them. So each day, guides will get a video of a practice video from me. Well, I'm not going to be giving out videos over 21 days for this, because I would just be too busy and I wouldn't then be able to enjoy the 21 days myself. But what I will do is I will put in the group a link to where you can get access to videos. And even if you're not in the group, you can get access to my videos on YouTube. If you go to my YouTube channel, and I'll put links to that, you can find lots of hundreds of films I've made over the last 8 years, where I share ways in which I connect to nature mindfully, and I share exercises and practices on there. And so it's feel free to go and be guided by those when you go out to nature, but also do and share your own practices. If you've got a practice in nature that you enjoy, that you would like to share with others, bring that to the group, bring that to the event group, and share it with others people, and say, and so what I'll do is I'll set a topic up in there. So I'll have in each of the groups on here, there's a thing called topics. So in the topic, I'll put practices and exercises for the 21 days, and you can use that topic to identify those that you're sharing. And then it's a case you can come on to the group each day and look to see what people are sharing, what exercises and practices are being shared. And then you can go out and practice one of those during the 21 days, or practice all of those during the 21 days. And so there'll be an opportunity to learn new practices, to share practices in nature. So some people on here will have forest bathing practices. I've got plenty of natural mindfulness practices. I know other guides have got practices that they use and exercises they use to share too. So I'm hoping that the group will start to develop lots and lots of routes, paths, ways, tracks for people to go out into nature over the 21 days. And then the key is to come back online after you've been out exploring, enjoying, connecting, experiencing, and share those, and then go and for people to then go and be able to read what others have been doing. So and a good reason for that is that if somebody hasn't managed to go out, or if somebody's on this 21 days with nature who isn't able to get out into nature, or there isn't a lot of nature where they live, they can have the opportunity to almost connect with nature through you, through your guidance. So they can look at your pictures, they can look at your video links, they can listen to you describing your experiences and describing your connections and your insights when you've been with nature. And there's a lot of well-being, and there's a lot of evidence to show how people are supported that way. Certainly during lockdown, I was running 7-day programs, which were immersion days, where I was encouraging people to, in their 1 hour that they could go out, or from their window, or from sitting in their garden, that they could connect with nature each of the 7 days, and then come back and share it. And there was, some people couldn't get out; they were isolating. They weren't even going out into their gardens. Some of them didn't even have gardens, but they were still getting great benefit, and their well-being and health was boosted through almost living vicariously through the people that were going out. And that's, that's a wonderful thing. That's a wonderful gift to give to people. Let's pop Kev back in, and this just binged me. Sorry, I was distracted by somebody wanting to come back into the meeting here. So yes, so it's the key is then to be sharing your practice, sharing your exercises, but then also sharing what you go out and you discover and go out and what you connect with. And so my aim is that the group will start to grow. The group will start to flourish. I see this group really as a little seed tray of people that are going to be joining me for the 21 days. It's a little seed tray. You're all seeds. And as we go through the 21 days, you're all going to start sprouting, growing, and flourishing and blooming as we go through these 21 days. So it's going to be really, one of the wonderful things about it is we'll be out in nature, we'll be out with nature all around us. But when we can come onto the group, there will also be nature cultivated on this group and within this group as well. And one of the things I've been finding over the last sort of nearly 3 years now of running online is there is the ability on here to create natural spaces, even though it's an unnatural medium, even though digital, for some people, they see it as something that distracts them from connecting with the natural world or the real world. In some ways, it can be a great tool for developing a natural space. Even though it's online, it's our nature that can bring the natural space to these online communities. And some of you will know that the theme for this year that I've been working on in Nature Connection World is cultivating nature conscious communities. And so one of the aims of this 21 days is to cultivate community. So it's cultivating community online, but it's also about, oh, hang on, I can hear some, I don't know if it's, I don't think it's you, Kev, because you're not moving. But I'll tell you what, I think I can mute you. Yes, I can mute you on here, I think. So I'll just. Yes, I think I've muted, that's it, the sound's gone now. So I think I've muted everybody, which is good. And for some reason, I've got Kev come up on here on mine. You're on mine, Kev, I don't know why. Right, okay. So, right, lost my track now. Hang on, let me just go back through my memory to where I was. So I was talking about cultivating nature conscious communities, that's right. And so that's the theme on Nature Connection World. And so this 21 days feeds quite nicely into that theme. So for those of you that have been involved with me around cultivating nature conscious communities, and there was a small group I set up at the start of this year. This is a great way to start to do that, because over these 21 days, we will be having an experience together, but the idea is to start sharing that experience, sharing it within the group here, but also going out and sharing it with your local communities as well. So if you're going out into nature, if you're a guide, over these 21 days, why not put a walk on? Why not set a small walk up and invite some people to come out with you, and then start sort of sharing this idea of community, sharing this idea of being with nature, investing time with nature rather than just spending time in nature. So start sharing what you're learning and what you're discovering in the group, and watching what everybody else is doing and connecting to what everybody else is doing, going out and sharing that with people in your local communities. Now, I'm going to be doing that on the 26th. I've got a natural mindfulness walk set up for here, very close to my home. And I'll be taking a small group of people to visit the heritage tree, which is a 600-year-old, it's approximately 600, nobody knows for sure, but the belief is it's a 600-year-old beech tree that was pollarded for many, many years. So these pollarded beech trees can be far older than people realize, because and there's no way of confirming it, but without cutting it down and counting rings and things, which I don't know, that nobody's going to do that to this lovely tree. So on the 26th, I'm taking a small group to visit the heritage tree. And then on the 31st of March, I'm joining Helen Neve up in North Yorkshire at the Make It Wild, one of the woods in Make It Wild, and we're co-hosting a walk, 2 walks up there, one in the morning, one in the afternoon. So if there's people that are near North Yorkshire that would like to come along and actually come with us on that day, or if there are people in Gloucestershire that would like to join me on the walk to go and see the heritage tree, let me know, and I'll certainly be guiding walks out. I might even take a little some clips of video to share on the 21 Days with Nature event group, share with everybody here, and try and encourage people to do the same. So those of you that are guides, those of you that may not be guides but just want to take a group of people out, you don't have to, you don't have to be licensed and trained to be able to take a group of people out and share your passion for nature with them. It's not an essential. Feel free to take family members and friends and the dog and head out into nature if you want to, but then come and share that, take some pictures, share it with us on the group. And so, to me, when we focus attention on something, it grows. Whatever I concentrate on, whatever I focus on, I get more of. The more I focus on nature, the more I'm connected with nature, the deeper my connection with nature comes. And so, with a whole group of us, a growing group of us doing this for a 21-day period, not only are we going to ripple out and connect with others, but we'll ripple in as well. There's this lovely idea. I like this idea of things rippling out. But the ripple in effect as well is the more we do something, the more we focus our attention on something, the more it grows. And this is the thing about 21 days. Somebody once said to me, it was linked to something in neuroscience that apparently it's on average about 21 days for the brain, the neurology of the brain, to start to change. So if you want to change a behavior or change a habit, or if you want to change something, what you believe or what you think, or the sort of the foundations of who you are, you can do that by consistently sticking to certain behaviors or certain thoughts for a 21-day period. And if you can do it for 21 days, if you can kind of keep that momentum going, from 21 days onwards, you will start to change those behaviors. You'll start to be able to make progress in your life in directions you haven't. Break out maybe of limiting beliefs, break out of comfort zones, and start going and exploring. But it kind of takes at least 21 days to do that. So that's why I like this idea of let's do 21 days with nature, investing our time. And those of us that get to the end of this journey without being distracted by something else, or without just deciding it's not for us, it's just too hard a journey. Those of us that are still there at the end of this journey, there's a good chance that we'll have, I don't like using the word infected anymore, but it is a good word to use. We'll have infected a lot of people around us through what we're doing, even people that are just watching what you're doing, maybe not even connecting with you, but they're seeing what you're doing, whether it's out in nature or whether it's online. People will be affected by that. People in our families will be affected by seeing what we're doing. Our friends will be affected by seeing what we're doing. But also internally as well, there'll be this change in us too, through the neurology and through the embodiment of what we're doing. So I think it's a good thing to do. I believe that those of you that have signed up on this, you believe it's a good thing to do as well. And so if it's a good thing to do, let's share it. Let's get more people involved, and let's use this as an opportunity to start practicing. Let's use this as an opportunity for those of you that, again, who are training as guides, set up a walk, take some people out. You'll be able to come on to the group and ask questions and get some support and get some guidance and get some encouragement from the others that are in the group too, to sort of help you get that up and get that started, if that's something that you want to do. The other lovely thing to share with you that's happening in this 21 days as well is because I'm up with Helen and Chris, her husband, up in North Yorkshire doing these walks, we were talking about, and it's been mentioned a number of times since I started this, is why isn't there a natural mindfulness day? Now, there's a forest bathing day, and there's lots of other days that we celebrate. Why aren't we celebrating a natural mindfulness day? And that's a really good question. I thought, well, let's pick one. But how do you pick a day in the year? One day in the year, is it my birthday? Is it the day I started doing this, which actually is my sister's birthday? Is it the day I published my book? What day is there? And then I thought, well, the beginning of spring is a lovely time to sort of pick something. But as I was saying at the beginning of this, the first day of spring, we have a calendar version of when the first day of spring is, but nature decides when spring's going to be, and springs itself, when it's right for nature, not right for us. So I found it quite difficult to pin a day down, and then I thought, well, why am I focusing on a day? Why not have a natural mindfulness week, so that we can at least have weekdays and a weekend in that week every year. So if we sort of make it between 2 dates each year, and have sort of 7 days, a week of natural mindfulness, and use that to encourage people to guide walks on that week, encourage people to come on walks on that week, encourage people to go off into nature with nature mindfully, and then come and share it. So the whole point of Natural Mindfulness Week will be what we're doing over these 21 days. And I'm going to use the 21 days to launch Natural Mindfulness Week, and I'll be up with Helen up in Yorkshire, so I thought it'd be a really good time. I'll probably make a video about it, and so this will be the first year we've done a week, but then hopefully we can do one every year. And again, so those of you that are with me guiding natural mindfulness walks, it'll be a great opportunity to all of us be able to focus on 1 week wherever we are in the world around the year, and all work together to try and encourage and do our best to bring people to a more mindful and deeper relationship with the natural world and their true nature during that week every year. So does that sound like a good idea? If you've got any thoughts about that, or if you've got any ideas for that, again, put comments either in this if you're on the live with me, or put comments on this post underneath when I've posted it up. So okay, so yeah, so that's happening. I've mentioned that I'm going to be with Helen up in Yorkshire, and again, if you're interested in joining us for either my walk here in the Cotswolds or the walk up in Yorkshire, let me know. Kev, I'm sorry, Kev, you're in Australia. I'm sorry, you're probably not going to. You'd probably love to be a springtime in Yorkshire and springtime in here in the Cotswolds, and I know you've been here to this country before in the past, haven't you? Say sorry.
3 times, yeah.
3 times.
I lived there in 2011 and 2013.
Yeah.
And then back when I was young as well. So.
Yeah, wow, we're still young, Kev. We're still young in spirit. But yeah, so yes, sorry that you can't do that, but maybe in Natural Mindfulness Week, if you wanted to put something on, if you wanted to just arrange something, people from close to where you are, and people watching this, in Australia, one of my aims for Nature Connection World is that there's a space that anyone can come to and find someone to walk with, find someone who shares what I'm calling nature consciousness, shares their connection. And consciousness, I did an interview for some of you might remember in the autumn 31 days with nature. Alex Strauss did a Rise Up Rooted symposium, and I don't know if those of you may have joined it. Alex is doing another symposium. They're free symposiums, and she's doing it for spring. But it comes in just after I've done the 21 days. So the 21 days are finished, and then the symposium is going to start. But I've just done a new video for her. So she's videoing a number of speakers for that. And that's coming out again in spring. So she's doing a spring symposium. And I was sharing cultivating nature conscious communities with her, and this idea I've got, and of sort of the importance of obviously nature connection, but also the importance of community. And one of the things that, one of the reasons I've set Nature Connection World up, one of the reasons that I'm doing what I'm doing, is that I've recognized from starting my walks very early on in 2014, the power of community. Nature connection, we know, can heal. Nature connection, there's evidence and there's research that shows that it's good for our health and our well-being and our spirit and minds, but also community is a part of that. So it's very, when you take a group of people and introduce them to nature, there's evidence that improves their health and well-being. But is that because of their connection to nature, Or is that because they're in a community of people, a small group of people? Is it because they're with like-hearted, like-minded people who they can talk about their connection to nature with, that they feel confident enough to express their thoughts around it? And I've seen that on the guide training as well, that there's a lot of empowerment and well-being and health comes from being part of that 21-day community, going through a similar process together. And people often say to me they really love that idea of the community. So I think it's very difficult to separate the health benefits of nature connection with the health benefits from connection through community. And actually a community is a group of people in a community. To me, that's connecting to nature. That's connecting to our true nature. That's connecting to our human nature. So it is nature connection, but often the focus has been on the natural world, the birds, the plants, the trees and everything. And I don't want to ignore human nature. I don't want to ignore, not say, humans bad, nature good, because we are nature. I just think one of the reasons that there's a lot of bad stuff in the world is because we've separated and disconnected from our human nature, our true nature. And, I was often taught when I was younger that human nature was survival of the fittest, survival of the strongest, the fastest, the toughest. But actually, I've realized growing up that it's survival of the group. Human beings evolved because the group stuck together, groups, tribes stuck together. And it was the biggest tribes that all kind of built their communities and looked after each other and collaborated and cooperated and supported. That's what led to our survival. But to sort of think it's survival of the fittest, not the fittest individual, because we all know that the fittest individual can still fall over. I was in a wood not long ago when we had all the high winds here, and there were some pretty big individual fit trees that had come over in the storm, because even though they were big, strong, looked like big, strong trees, they weren't connected under the ground. The root systems weren't connected to the other trees. It was almost like they were in isolation. Big fir trees, for instance, big isolation. All the beeches and the oaks are kind of connected together under the ground, and some of these pine trees and these fir trees are individual. And so it's not, survival of the fittest on an individual basis. Nah, that's not natural. A big wind can topple an individual, but when you have a big group that are all held together and all got strong connections, much harder to topple that. And that's to me the power of nature through community. And so the aim, and this 21 days is part of that. Natural Mindfulness Week will be part of that, and obviously cultivating nature conscious communities throughout the whole of nature connection world and beyond that, to me is this bringing strong community together through a recognition and an understanding of our nature. So 21 days with nature is 21 days with the birds and the trees and the plants and the bees and all of the wonderful nature around us, but it's also about the nature within us as well. And so on each of those, as you journey through on each of the days, investing your attention, noticing the nature around you, but also noticing the nature within you and sharing that too in the event group is a really key part of this 21 days. And I don't know what's going to happen. What I always say to people is, you can't get this wrong, because I just got an idea. I had a seed of an idea. Let's go and do it. And I think that's one of the reasons why I kind of guide, and and some people go, you're ahead of other people, is because if I get an idea, I just go with it. I just go and see what happens. I plant it and I water it and I nurture it and I see if it grows. If it doesn't grow, I don't get too upset about the fact it hasn't grown and think, oh, I'm a failure. I just go, oh well, let's see what's grow. Let's have another idea. Let's do another thing, and I just like to cultivate and see what happens. And like with nature, there's no failure there. We just see what grows. And so over the 21 days, I'm very excited. I'm anxiously excited, as I often say to people. There's a part of me that says, what if I get to the end of the 21 days and I'm the only person coming on here and talking to people? Everybody else has gone off and done something else. So there's that could possibly happen. I'm pretty sure it won't. But also I'm very excited because, You know, I've done lots like this. I've done lots of similar things like this, but I've not done this one before. And this one's unique. This one's different. There's different groups of people. There are some people on here that I would class as friends because I know them. We've connected, and it's nice to see friendly faces and connect with people I know. But there's new people. There's new people, and I want to encourage more new people to come and join Nature Connection World, come and join this program. And so I invite those of you again that are part of what we're doing here with the 21 days. Go out and be bees and butterflies and start pollinating over these 21 days as well. Start going out and sharing what you're doing and how you're doing it, and inviting people to come and join Nature Connection World. Either join this event, join Nature Connection World as a whole, join both. And if you're guides that are thinking of setting up groups, cultivating your own nature conscious communities, start inviting people to your groups. Bring them on so you can do what I'm doing here today, have a conversation with them, connect with them, and then encourage them to come out with you and go on a walk with you, or come on an event with you, or just come and have a chat with you, over a coffee somewhere, but with a connection and with experience of nature, with nature around you and within you. So I think that's it. That was, I kind of went off on one there, but but I think it's all, I think from my memory of what I just said to you, I think it's quite meaningful. I can see you, I could see you on here, Kevin. So, you're looking like you're connected to what I'm saying. So, so I'll take that as a sign. You're nodding your head as well. So I'll take that as a sign that I hadn't gone too far off on one. But another thing I like about doing these live things is because if I get an idea and I start to go with it, it's just like I'm having a conversation with somebody face to face. That's how we communicate face to face. Is an idea will pop into our head and we'll just start chatting about it. It's a bit like those of you that really, that enjoy music. It's a bit like jazz. When you get a sort of a group of jazz players that come together, and you just get a few of them come together, and they just start playing anything, and it just grows. And I think that's what the word to jazz means, doesn't it? Is to just sort of improvise and be spontaneous and stuff. And I kind of like those conversations. And I try to get that across with what I'm doing here online with people as well. And I want that to be part of what we do on the 21 days group as well. That, if you get a thought, if you have an experience, if you connect, if you have an insight, rather than think, oh, will people think I'm silly to say this, or will people really be interested in that? Just go with it. Just trust your instinct and post something. Post a picture, post a poem, post a link to a video on here as well. If you've got videos you want to link, just while I've mentioned that, if you've got videos you want to link to the group, unlike things like Facebook where you can upload a video onto a group, here you can only connect a video link. So the video has to exist somewhere on somewhere like YouTube or Vimeo or on a website somewhere, and then you can take the link to that video and share that link. So if you're taking video yourself, you'll need to be able to upload that, know how to upload that to a YouTube channel or a Vimeo channel or to your website, and then connect the link into the group. But if you just if you just feel that you want to share something, my view would be just go with it, because often when we'll get an insight, and if we don't share that, we deny somebody the opportunity of hearing that, who might really need to have heard that or seen that or connected and resonated with that day. So I kind of share, that's one of the things, the power of sharing for me is I'll share lots of things at the risk sometimes of looking foolish, or at the risk sometimes of people not liking what I've shared or not agreeing with me on what I'm saying. But just because there might be one person out there who reads that or experiences what I've shared and it has meaning for them today. And I've learned that through my life, that quite often I've put things out and on social media, and somebody's messaged me privately afterwards and said, I'm so pleased you put that out today because I just needed to hear that. It's something, this was going on in my life, and just to remember that I could go out and listen to bird song and remind myself of the beauty of nature has helped me. And if that helps one person, that's such a good thing, because you haven't just helped one person, because that one person if they're anything like me. If somebody helps me and I get benefit from that, I go tell lots of people about it. I go and share that. So you helping one person means that potentially you could help many more people through the ripples of that of that sharing, of that experience that you create. So please, just share it. And we're in a safe space. That's one of the reasons I set groups up on Nature Connection World as well, is so it's a safe space for people to come in, where you can share anything really on here, as long as you're not being rude or hurtful to others, which I don't think anybody on here is like that anyway. They don't even find Nature Connection World people like that. They're too busy going off looking for other things to do. That's what Facebook's for, I think. So anyway, it's 10:31. I think I've got as much out as I wanted to get out, and I don't want to make this video too long because it makes it difficult then for people to listen to it. So I think what I'll do is I'll stop there. And those of you, Linda, you're here, and Kev's here as well. If you've got any questions or anything you'd like to say, just let me know or drop them into the chat. But if that was all clear, if that was okay, and you think you don't think I've missed anything there, it's difficult for me. I don't know whether I've covered it all. But the great thing about 21 days is that if I've not said it now, I can say it tomorrow, or I can say it the next day or the next day. And I will be in touch as well. I'll be linking through the group, so the 21 Days with Nature event group. I will be linking through that now mainly. So anything to do with this 21 days will all come through the group. So those of you that are watching this that are not in the group, you've got an opportunity to go in. Again, I'll give you the link to Eventbrite. You can get a ticket for that, support what Helen and Chris are doing at Make It Wild through that, and join us in the group. And then you'll get more interaction with me and the others on the group. But outside of the group, if you prefer to do this on your own, that's fine. Please share on your social media. If I see posts on social media linked to 21 Days with Nature, and maybe I'll start saying to people, just put hashtag 21 Days with Nature, and then I'll be able to find what people are doing on social media if you use those hashtags. Of course I'll come in and maybe comment and look at what you've written and share things with you and interact in that way. So I'll do my best to do that. But the best way to sort of interact and find out what I'm up to and when I'm doing things is to be in the 21 Days with Nature group, which I think probably most of you watching this will be. Okay, and the final point is please share what we're doing. It would be great to get more and more people in, because the more people we get into this group, the more I can help Chris and Helen, and the more fun we can have, and the more richness will grow from this seed tray. So I think on that note, I actually could hear my dog outside barking, and I don't know if she's barking at dogs walking by or whether she's trying to tell me it's too nice out there, it's lovely, and what am I doing in the office talking to people when I could be out there with her chasing a ball or having some fun. So I think I'll take that as a message from nature to go on out and end this here. So thank you for those of you that watch this with me live. Thank you for those of you that messaged me to say you'd love to be here watching this live with me, but you've got lots of other things to do on a Sunday morning. And thank you to those of you that are watching this on record. And then please do get in touch with me if you've got any questions or any ideas that you'd like to add to these 21 days. It's a great launch, I think. I'm very excited about it. I'm more excited about this now than I was sort of 20 minutes before I started this video, when I was wondering, I was in my anxious excitement stage. It's having just gone through this and expressed it and explained it and shared my thoughts on it. I feel there's a nice power in this moving forward. It's some nice fuel in this moving forward. And I don't think there's ever been a better time to celebrate spring and celebrate spring 2022 after where we've been leading up to 2022 and kind of a lot of what's going on in the world right now. And I think it's a good time to invest our attention on nature and our true nature. So if you agree with that, please join me, please continue with this, and I look forward to what you share. So take care, and I'll talk to you very, very soon.